Saleh, the coordinator of the research fair in South Sulawesi, and I will be moderator in this policy forum. The railway tracks is being developed in South Sulawesi. As the ministry mentioned, it connects the city of Makassar to three districts, Maros, uh, Baru, and also Parepare, along 145 kilometers. The development of this railway track is the first one in Indonesia, in East Indonesia, and this is the early stage of the Trans-Sulawesi railway track, which is part of the national infrastructure program. This will increase the availability of transportation, not only for freight, but also for passengers. The presence of this will also open opportunity for the economy, especially for local economy, and to increase the export of commodity and for the whole people of South Sulawesi. Experiences show that this kind of transportation may not necessarily be beneficial for people without having it be sustainable. On how to maximize the impact of this railway track. Therefore, this in policy forum, we will have a spokesperson, Professor Wihana Virajaya, the economic staff from the Ministry of Transportation of Indonesia. Good morning, Professor Wihana. Then we have Mr. Prakosa. He is the technical director of PT Pelabuhan Indonesia or Pelindo 4. Good morning, Pak Prakosa. We also have Dr. Arafa, the head of the Office of Transportation in South Sulawesi. Good morning. Good morning, Bu Nana. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Hendra Fahri, he is the member of the infrastructure team of the governor for South Sulawesi.
Ibu
Good
Nana
morning,
dan
Ibu Nana,
selamat pagi untuk buat semua.
And all. Thank you. And for everybody, I would like to ask Professor Wihana first to give us update about the development of railway in South Sulawesi and the vision of the central government on the impact of the railway in South Sulawesi. Thank you, Bu Nana. Good morning, everyone. I really appreciate today's event. The ministry has also directed that the Ministry of Transportation just prepared a system, and the system that we are preparing is the railway track from Makassar to Parepare. I will try to be quick. The ministry has said very clearly this Makassar Parepare railway track is to improve what to connect places through railway so that people have access, corporation have access, and also the communities, even informal communities can have access when they want to travel as passengers. So in essence, the railway track will give impact also to certain areas, not only the corporations, but provide also economic opportunities to the maximum. So mobility of the use of the railway track will bring not only freight and passengers in a much better way. All right, next, please show my PowerPoint. What is interesting here is, next please, is that conceptually, the presence of railway will connect the production factors. It can be the employment, raw material, also technological transfer to the community. Bunana mentioned that it won't have impact on the people if we don't actually do our responsibilities. I will now uh, talk about this. When we look at the pandemic, the minister and the president would really like to accelerate this to 2021 so that this can be a stimulus for the communities during this pandemic. Uh, so please show the impact of pandemic on the economy and distance. We all know about the COVID-19, about the lockdown, etc. But the essence is the economy has been contracted because we close and limit mobilities, capacities. We maintain protocols. As a result, economically, we experience contractions and output is reduced, and we are in recession. And what about the global condition? What about the regional condition? What about the national condition? And how about the condition of the South Sulawesi? And how about the condition of the districts within Makassar Parepare? How, including the sub-districts and villages, all experiences construction. That's why this project has to be accelerated, because this will be able to stimulate investment, government spending, the increase of output, but that is a process of multiplier effect, uh, and to end eventually reduce contraction. Every country is experiencing contraction. Everyone feels the impact on economic growth. As for stimulus and impact, they may differ from country to country, but our recovery in the world is second best after Thailand. So that's based on the most recent IMF report. What about the South Sulawesi context? In the past, South Sulawesi, the growth is always higher than the national figure, but now it's been dropped. That's why fiscal stimulus for health, social safety net, for incentives from the government, and other sources through banking, etc. It is hoped that this will increase export and import in South Sulawesi, so that we know that the growth has decreased due to the pandemic, and many employees have been losing their job. Now, let's move on. So South Sulawesi has been contracted in terms of the economy. So we need stimulus. Stimulus can be done through infrastructure and policies. As a result, on the supply side, once the railway track is concluded, all businesses, corporations, Tonas and Bosoa cement factories, and other business activities, exports and import of coals. So we will have a flow of goods. This is what we call stimulus. This is one that we want to accelerate. So in addition to the Makassar Harbor and Airport, then we will be able to fulfill the demand, supply, and demand. That used to be contraction. It will be able to move, and output will move also. So this is what is expected from the stimulus, positively increase the economy. So as a result, we will have an increase in output in terms of transportation. What is most important, in the past, before the railway, we used the road to transport goods. So where the time is uncertain, so it created inefficiency. What is more important, The minister mentioned that to develop infrastructure, you have to think comprehensively. It's not just 1+1 is 2, but 1+1 is 7. So we need to create values, chain of values, and maximize the economic value if it is well coordinated between Parepare and Makassar. Next, please. Now, what has been developed by the government, these B segment, C segment, and how many districts that have been passed by and what have been constructed, etc. The minister mentioned this is one of the railway projects based on PPP because the government has a concern in terms of budget. So it works with the uh, government enterprise and other private parties. So this is one of the breakthroughs on how we develop infrastructure in cooperation in terms of fund with third parties, with state enterprises and the private sectors. So this is the paradigm setting for infrastructure for the first time in railway. So this is the data about what we have done so far. Next, please. Now, so from the global concept, now we go down to the local concept. And this is about the operational part. So it is hoped that once we have this, this will be also connected to the harbor. So we will be able to connect the airport and the sea transportation on how we integrate the sea transportation, the etc. What is important is that this railway track, the Makassar Parepare track, in addition to carrying freight and cargo, but it also linked in an intermode transportation. But what is important is collaboration, not only for this Parepare and Makassar railway, but also collaboration between national government and the local government, but collaboration between ministries and agencies that are and also Ministry of the economy and maritime, how to do this collaboration well, and the connectivity of ideas, authorities, budgeting, all has to be integrated. So this is the one of the keywords of the collaboration. Next is integration. After we collaborate, then we integrate. This is it. To integrate is one of the impacts once this happens. I think Pak Prakoso will focus more on the Pakasar port, which is Pelindo 4, on how to integrate the toll road, whether how we are going to deal with the freight. Whether goods will be able to go straight to the port with the improvement of link between Makassar and Parepare that will maximize the capacity of the port of Makassar, the industrial cluster, export import will increase. These spots will increase the competitive advantage of Makassar compared to other places. So that's the keywords about collaboration between Pelindo, which is a state agency, and KAI is also a state enterprise, and local government. This will accelerate connectivity. So to create access, mobility, but remember our economy is is market and non-formal market, formal and informal. Our duty is to unite them in terms of collaboration and integration. Those are the keywords that I need to remind you. So thank you very much. This is this academic research. This Pare Makassar Railway has scientific and academic research. That we don't have a silo to think about this. This study has to be socialized to the people in a structured way so that people really understand the benefit of this. Thank you very much, Professor Wihana, for the comprehensive explanation. Very important to bring us to the point of discussion. You and the minister emphasize on the need of collaboration and coordination that is carried out well, so that the services of the railway, both for freight and passengers, can run effectively. I would like to ask Pak Prakosa about this freight, because this this railway will start and end at Makassar port. So how is this going to optimally increase logistics and supply chain? Thank you very much, Budana. It's true that what Pak Wihana said and also what the minister said, that we need connectivity, because connectivity will create access, and access will lead to mobility, and economic activities will run well. So please show my slide. At the moment, the Makassar port it serves 700 turtles, and most of them through existing harbor, because the Newport harbor under being prepared. And this is the layout of the Makassar port that will be built by Pelindo 4 in Makassar. Pelindo 4 developed this has since 2015, and it is planned to be full operation in early 2023. If you look at this port will have 1,000 meter length and 600 meter addition. In 2023, Pelindo will have a new port as long as 1,600 meter with an area of 120 hectares. With these facilities, this support with minus 16 meter depth will be able to serve up to 2.6 TEUs and 30 million tons of goods. This will be 4 times of the capacity of Makassar today. The presence of the railway, which is next to the port, the railway will be at 3G. You can see the green part on top of the red part. That's where the railway station will be. Once it's fully operated in 2023, the new Makassar port will serve about 1,000 TEUs. If the railway only serves the Tonasa cement, of which capacity is 350,000 tons. The role of the railway is still quite small, with the assumption that one container can carry 20 tons. That means that 3,500 TEUs is about 1,700 box, whereas the containers, the capacity of containers is 1 million. That means it's only 1.5% of the railway that will serve the port. Whereas if we look at the target of the main plan of national main plan in 2030, they hope that the railway will increase as a transportation for freight about 17%. So we need to increase 10 times in 10 years. Despite the estimation of the proportion at the early stage is quite small, the potential to increase the proportion based on the target of the national target, I think it will be able to be achieved by looking at the facts, existing facts. The transportation of container that has been carried out by service providers in Makassar, 50% have been done from the north, from Parepare, Maros, and Baru. That means if out of the 55% is just one third of it or 70% of it is taken by the railway, that target will be achieved. At the moment, Tonas cement sends that cement so to export it through from the east to their own harbor. However, the depth of the harbor is only 11 meters. If Tonasa would like to send more than 40,000 tons, they will have to shift the transportation on the sea, and that will be high cost. So to anticipate that, Pelindo 4 has already offered to Semen Tonasa to move their activities from Bringkasi to Makassar that has 60 meter depth. This is 2B on the picture. So this is for multi-purpose. ABC is for containers. However, as Prof. Wihana mentioned, there are still many other industries that that may be developed in Makassar. Among others, like seaweed that was discussed 2 days ago, or other industries that may grow with the presence of the railway track, so that the 70% target of the national government can still be achieved. I think that would be all for me as an introduction. Thank you, Pak Prakosa, for the explanation. You emphasized that the capacity of Pelindo is much bigger, and there is a possibility for it to absorb more logistics through Pelindo 4. I would like now to shift to Pak Arafa, the office head of transportation at South Sulawesi. As we know, the railway is for freight services and passengers to provide effective service. It has to be well linked with other transportation modes, both in transport district and city level. As head of the office of transportation, how are you going to explain this? Thank you, Bunana. I have some points to share.
Oke. Bisa dikasih host ya, co-host.
Sambil jalan, Bu Nana ya.
Ya, silakan, Pak.
Yang saya hormati Pak Prof. Wihana.
So, Professor Wihana, what the resource persons has mentioned are more or less similar to what I'm going to say, because in essence, this it's part of what I was going to say, but I will focus more on your question, Ibu Nana's question. So the role of the South Sulawesi government, as we often mention, the railway is the icon of the province. developed by the Ministry of Transportation.
Dari sisi
On the side of passengers, of course, there are several potentials that we can mention. This railway will pass several harbors. It will and Makassar Port and Garongkong Port. At its early stage, it is projected that the harbor will be connected in 2021. At the moment, all of the accesses of development have been accelerated by the Ministry of Transportation. I need to mention here that some of the potentials in relation to introduction to transportation in Parepare, we have about 500,000 passengers in a year on the road access between Parepare and Makassar. Every year we have more or less every day about 26,000 people or more cars using the road access between Makassar Parepare. This will have a huge impact on the increase or the use of railway. What is also important, of course, is with the freight transportation, what we hope is from the existing potential, there is production capacity in the Tonas cement factory, which produced 18 tons per year. We hope this potential, this is distributed to some areas in Eastern Indonesia and also export to Cambodia, Filipina, Bangladesh, Madagascar, Malaysia, Singapore, and East Timor. And of course, this is a potential when the railway is connected with the harbor, and this will increase again in terms of exporting to other countries. In Bosowa cement, the production is 2.5 million tons per year. And we hope that in the future, this will be able to make up the needs of cement in Eastern Indonesia and has the potential to be exported, because at the moment export has faced obstacles in the capacity of transporting them. The other potentials that we need to also mention in terms of fisheries, particularly seaweeds, the potential is very high, especially, and also from the mining sector. We also hope that it will become a prima donna of export once we have the railway track ready. The other potentials are that we really hope that this can also maximize the existing industries in South Sulawesi, of which in 2018, the production value was 706 billion rupiah. And the impacts is we can ensure that this will increase accessibility from production centers to marketing outlets in Makassar, to increase the functional relation between areas, between cities and villages, and support the potential of development of Sulawesi in terms of the support of accessibility of transportation. We have been carrying out efforts and we have mentioned this to our colleagues at the cities, uh, uh, the areas that will be passed by the railway like Maros, Pangkep Baru, and Makassar. We hope that this will be a transportation mode that can be directly accessed to help our people in the regions to increase their accessibility. I think that would be all, Bu Nana. Thank you very much, Bu Nana. Now I would like to move to Pak
Yep.
Hendra.
Pak Hendra, tadi
Pak Hendra,
melihat
after
Bapak
you've
diskusi
heard
dengan
the
pembangunan
previous presentation, seems like development of development in Sulawesi are quite exciting. There's so many things that we can do to increase people's livelihood. What about the provincial government view in this thing? So, peaceful greetings to all of us.
Kedengaran Ibu Nana?
Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you, Pak Hendra.
Alhamdulillah sudah beberapa pemaparan dari 3 narasumber.
So we've had several presentations, and I would like to comment on comment or to connect what the presenters have presented. I think this is very important, as it's been mentioned that our target to have this to finish in early 2021. However, if we look at the development at the moment, I think we will try to look at on how to accelerate it. Therefore, we need to look at it from the spatial planning. Secondly, in terms of the land, in the land, thankfully, through the synergy between the national government, provincial and district government, at the moment, some of the areas have been finalized, and we divide them into two, the land that are owned by the people in the community and owned by the forestry office. So what we have done, like in Pangkep, fortunately, it's been finalized. I think this is an early step. Why? Because in terms of the provision of land, we have to see the process partially. Why? This is a challenge. This is a homework for both the national and provincial governments. Then
Lanjut, Pak. Halo, Pak Hendra. Suaranya mute, Pak. Suaranya mute.
Pak Hendra, you're muted.
Oke, barangkali sambil menunggu Pak Hendra bergabung.
While waiting for Pak Hendra, Prof. Vihana, I'll return to you. I think the people in South Sulawesi are quite excited waiting for this railway.
Nanti saya kembali ke Pak Hendra sebentar aja.
I will continue. Professor Vihana, we are now talking about passengers. The people in South Sulawesi are waiting. April 2021, it's mentioned that one of the legs have been developed. And to be effective, we need affordability and also policy of in terms of design and infrastructure. It should be inclusive for elderly and children. Have this been seriously thought about too? So we are preparing what we call the reliability of transportation, inclusivity, starting from people from their home. They will have ticketing system that is in line with for instance, from the village, there will be a village transportation system. We are thinking about the system. We are thinking of the seamless transportation system. What we are doing, and we look at the people as the social capital to improve this system. Once the transportation is already running, especially this is the pandemic, we will also look into the health protocols so that it will be safe for people to use it. And I think eventually this railway transportation will be trusted by people. Hopefully, with this, but of course, with this pandemic, people's income has been reduced because of the economic construction that needs to be stimulated. That maybe we need to provide subsidy. But the set of buyer, we have to provide the stimulus. This is the point that we are trying to find out. So in terms of logistics, how we are going to match the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic behavior. Which one needs the subsidy? Is it the provider or the people? For the people, I think the small enterprises need to be stimulated also. So this is a multi-stakeholder thing that should engage the community. Thank you very much, Prof. Wihana. We have 7 minutes. Pak Hendra, I will return to you. Prof. Wihana and the minister keep on emphasizing that this is a good opportunity for South Sulawesi, and I would like to return to the people's economy. How will the government of South Sulawesi prepare the people, especially to create informal opportunity and provide access information for them so that they can also feel the benefit of the railway?
Betul, betul. Jadi
Okay, that's good.
pertama-tama
That's
juga
true, ma'am. We
kita
need to
efek
uh,
efek
make
ekonomi dengan kehadiran
people
kereta
sure
api
that about the
oleh karena itu
effectiveness of the presence of this railway.
pada
That's why we need to provide education to
dan
tell the
yang
people
harus
of the importance and
dilakukan
what needs to be done after we have the railway.
adalah
However,
bagaimana
we cannot just force that to the
itu
people, but
adalah
the
hal
government of South
yang
Sulawesi has to be present in
seperti apa ya
connecting
perlu
connecting the people. We need to know that with the acceleration of development of
itu gampang
the
untuk industri.
Barongkong.
Oleh karena itu saya yakin
Therefore,
dengan
I'm sure that with
ini
the
akan
good
menyebabkan
planning,
yang
this
akan menjadi
employment will increase, investment will increase, and so we need to think about how to engage the people. And secondly, some of the programs carried out by the province in terms of stimulating the economy, we have the development of rest areas along the
jalur kereta api.
provincial roads, which is connected to the train, to the railway. With this, the people can use the rest areas as product uh,
Nah, oleh karena itu
to show their
dari
products.
untuk support itu
So to support that, the infrastructure development that we have to do is to build roads
menuju jalur
or transportation way to the roads to link with the railway. First is how to connect Pangkep district with Bone, with South Sulawesi by building roads to connect to Tonasa. So with the opening of new accesses in areas between Pangkep and Bone, there will be a new economic growth. With the acceleration of the transportation from the city to the village, from the hilly areas in Baru to Pangkep, with this access, this will provide greater effects. In addition to that, how to connect the areas, the tourist areas in Sope to Makassar, not only by using public transportation through roads, but also about interconnectivity about between Makassar and Baros through railway system, through Sope, so that the these accesses will generate new economy, new economic growth. On one side, in terms of the economy, we need to educate and empower the small enterprises to standardize them. The province will have to standardize products along the zone or the railway zones, because whether we like it or not, in the future, the people or passengers using the air transportation will be connected to the railway, and how the ports and airports are connected. And I think with this will open opportunities for small enterprises. But we need to remember to standardize them and to educate them. I think this is our
Makasih
homework
banyak
together.
banyak Pak Hendra. Kita sudah
Thank you, Pak Hendra.
di penghujung
Now
waktu.
we have
Tapi
reached
saya
the end of
ingin
our
kembali
time, but
ke Prof.
I
Wihana.
would like to
Prof.
return to
Wihana,
Prof. Vihana. Prof. Vihana,
pembangunan kereta api ini kan sangat mahal ya.
this railway
Membangun sistem
development is
transportasi
really
kan cukup
expensive and it's quite
tenaga listrik
complex
dan juga
to build it.
Terima kasih,
How about
memang
the
setiap
risk
proyek
mitigation?
kereta api di semua negara
In
itu
all
banyak
countries,
dibiayai investasi,
railways
khususnya
get
pemerintah Indonesia.
subsidized,
Dan
both
kalau
investment
memang
and from the
tugas di
government.
perkotaan
In
memang
urban areas, the
ekonominya
economic
juga
value is
kurang
higher
tinggi, ada
than
subsidi
in,
yang ada
in
perintisnya gitu kan, sehingga tanggung jawab
pioneer
oleh
railways.
karena itu
Therefore,
di dalam strategi ini
in
diciptakan
in the strategy, we have to create
private partnership.
collaboration. PPP is
PPP
a partnership between government
dengan
and third
cara
parties,
ya
but it can also be partnership with the
seperti
people. People can be engaged
tadi
to
masyarakat
optimize
sukarelawan
asset. The
kemudian
government, the people
swasta tadi instalasi
can
dengan intinya walaupun mahal
use it
tapi
also. So although it is
operasi
expensive,
transportasi
but
ini
what is
adalah
more important is the
pemerintah
investment in
yang
railway has to
inklusif.
expand
Ekonomi
to create
semua
inclusive
gitu kan.
economic opportunity for all, not
Termasuk di
just
dalam pembangunan
particular
kereta api itu
stakeholders.
diciptakan
So that's
bersama
why we create a joint team
memonitor
that can monitor the process of delivery, the
proses
process of
pembangunannya,
planning,
proses
implementation
pengadaan,
process, and process
proses
of
change
results,
of outcome-nya.
and
Nah,
also
itu
process
langsung
change of
baik
outcome.
dari pemerintah,
Uh,
baik yang langsung dinikmati oleh
the,
korporasi, juga baik yang dinikmati oleh
for
masyarakat.
the government, corporation, and the people. I really agree
Jadi decoupling antara sektor
uh,
informal milik
if
masyarakat
there
dan sektor formal
that
gitu.
only the formal
Nah,
sectors
ini
that can enjoy it, but also the informal sector. So this is our joint
pengusaha
responsible uh, to
termasuk
maintain the risk. For
perusahaan
instance, to avoid people from be getting
nah itu
marginalized.
kesempatan untuk
So we have to
banyak
provide them with
inklusif
opportunities also. That's why we need to
yang
have inclusive economic
mungkin
opportunities.
itu
I think that would be all. Thank you.
Sebelum berakhir saya ingin
Before I end it, Prakosa,
30
do you
detik, Pak.
you have 30
Dan Pak Henra yang
seconds
berbagi
to say your statement.
harapan petani, Pak.
Thank you, or your hopes to create a comprehensive integrated railway. I think, like Pak Wihana said, the keywords are integration and cooperation. Pelindo cannot do much without the roles of commodities, actors of commodities, regulators, the infrastructures, other infrastructure providers like Jasa Marga and IT, and also infrastructure providers.
Arafah 30 detik, Pak.
Pak Arafah, 30 seconds for you. What is your main hope? Thank you, Bu Nana. I really hope that this Makassar Parepare Railway can be concluded soon. I really hope that the transportation ministry can finalize this on schedule, because this is highly expected by the people of South Sulawesi. Secondly, of course, the government of the province will support whatever that is under its authority, which include the provision of the location. So we hope that this will be that is the railways between Maros Makassar can be concluded also. Lastly, I would like to have a subsidy for our people to enjoy the railway, especially for the passengers. So they will be willing to shift from road to railway transportation. I think that's all.
Bapak dan Ibu, Pak
Thank
Hendra,
you
Pak Prakosa,
very much,
Pak Prof. Wihana, makasih
everybody,
banyak atas
for
presentasinya dan
the participation in this discussion forum this morning. I don't
sudah
think
lewat waktunya, tapi tentu ini adalah
we're running out
sesuatu
of
yang
time.
bersama sehingga
I think
ada
it is
komunikasi
our
yang
common hope
terus
that the presence of the railway will be beneficial for every stakeholders.